In this example, we are going to graph a function using transformations. This specific graph is the graph of a absolute value. So let's look at this. The absolute value of x plus 5. The first step to graphing this is that I have to understand or know, I have to know what the graph of an absolute value looks like. So if I have my xy coordinate plane and I plop down a absolute value, I'm going to get something like this. And notice that both of these sides have a slope of 1 to 1. So on the right, it's a positive 1. We go up 1 and right 1. So this point 1, 1 is on there. And we go up 2, right 2. So the point 2, 2, and so on. On the left side, we have a slope of negative 1. When we go left 1, we go up 1, go left 2, and up positive 2. And that's the absolute value. So we have to start by simply knowing how to graph that absolute value just within seconds, to just recognize right away, this is what I know the graph looks like. The next step is to recognize this vertical transformation. When we add a 5, we're actually adding a 5 to the y. We're saying that y, and that's this axis, is 5 more than the absolute value of x function. So when I take this example, when I take this absolute value of x, let me do this on a bigger xy plane. So here's our xy. If I start with our absolute value of x, which we know is this. This isn't the absolute value of x plus 5. But if I know this, and I want to transform it vertically 5 units, what that means is I'm going to take this, and instead of starting at 0, 0, I'm going to start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to start at 0, 5. And then from there, I'll go over 1, up 1, and so on. So I get lines that are parallel to what I already had. It's that absolute value. That's not quite straight. Let me make that a little bit better. Because what I'm going for here, by the way, is half of a 90-degree angle. So if this is let me draw it first and then I'll show you what I'm trying to explain. When we do absolute value, this is a 90-degree angle, right? And the absolute value should cut that at 45 degrees, so it precisely half. So when we draw this, you want to make sure that this angle is 45 degrees, half of 90, so it's equal on both sides. But anyhow, that's how you'd graph this absolute value of x plus 5. I hope that that helped with the graphing. Let me show you one more while we're talking about this, because here's another absolute value. And this one's a little bit different because we've got that vertical shift of 7, but this is a negative 7, so we're going to go down 7. But then it also has a horizontal shift. This negative 1 minus 1 is actually going to tell us to transform the function right 1. So let's start again with this f of x equals the absolute value of x. If we have f of x is the absolute value of x. If I were to graph that, I'd get this function, right? That's our starting point. But when I go vertically 7, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to move the graph down here, so we're starting down here. But then we're going to move right 1. This minus 1 means that we move right 1. Tends to be a mistake students will make as they think that that means left 1, but it's actually a negative 1. So when I put this all together, this blue function is the final answer. Let me show you one other approach for that, because this question actually came as a multiple choice. Another way to see this is to first recognize it's an absolute value, so it's a V shape, but all 4 of these multiple choice options, it gives us that V. But if I know that with this absolute value of x, the vertex is at 0, 0, then when I look at this g of x, I can see that the vertex is going to go right 1, so x is 1, and down 7, so negative 7. So if I find the graph that has a vertex at positive 1, negative 7, I can see that this is the only right answer. The others shift the vertex differently. So the important thing to know is that the negative 1 inside the grouping symbol, in this case it's inside an absolute value, means that we shift right 1, and then that minus 7 outside the grouping symbol, so outside the absolute value in this case, would mean that we shift down 7. So right 1, down 7, and we get that vertex of 1, negative 7. I hope that this video has helped with your example. Please let me know if you need further assistance.